What's up everyone, Tommy with Studio Sense coming at you again with another list video. I've done a lot of list videos this year. We are still early in 2024 and part of closing out 2023 is to kind of tell you guys some of my experience of last year, not only with the new releases but also the cheapy fragrances that I kind of sort of discovered part of last year in 2022. Today's video is all about that. Even though it's not a top 10 list, I'm going to give you guys my preferences in terms of what I think are the best of the list, cost versus quality ratio. So don't click off this video, we got a ton of stuff to go over, so stay right here because I'll be right back. Welcome back everyone to a quick jam session about the best of the cheapies that I discovered in the whole 2023, that whole 12-month period that we just left in the dust behind us. In a lot of ways we want to kind of forget what happened last year, but if I could just kind of scoop up all of my collective experience in terms of cheapy fragrances, what I experienced last year, and pick out 10 of the best, that's sort of what this is all about. And I wanted to share those with you and kind of give you my opinion on each one of these. So this isn't a top 10 list like I've been doing lately, but it is part of my kind of closing out 2023. Last year kind of informing us on our fragrance purchases going forward into 2024. Now several of these I haven't talked about yet on my channel, so for the first time giving you my opinion on them quickly. The first one that I want to talk to you about is actually a pretty sexy little fragrance and very inexpensive. My wife actually really loves this on me. It is Abercrombie & Fitch Away Tonight For Him. Of course, there's a for him version and a for her version of several of these, but this particular one is really cool. Now, I talked about the aquatic version, which I think is just called Away. Really enjoy that one as an aquatic cheapie. This one is more of your quintessential date night cheapie. This one opens with bergamot, black pepper, grapefruit. It's got a little bit of carrot, geranium, some other notes that carry it. It is an EDT or eau de toilette concentration, but it actually performs really well, really inexpensive. I think I paid 30 bucks for it. Very well worth it for a 100 ml bottle. Now guys, just as a blanket statement too, most of these fragrances are going to be under 50 bucks. The few that are just a bit more are definitely well worth it, and I'll let you know which ones of those are. This is going to be one of them. This is a release that kind of took me by surprise. It's by Calvin Klein. It is Defy Eau de Parfum, the EDP version of the new flagship fragrance by Calvin Klein. I did a first impressions video on this and kind of let you know what's best about it, but to me, if you are into light leather fragrances that perform really well, you will really enjoy Defy. This one has I don't know, it's just a different little fragrance, and it did kind of surprise me because I'm not used to good performance out of most of Calvin Klein fragrances. They're just decent. You've got a combination of suede, leather, and vetiver. That trio is really what makes this such a good fragrance. It smells great. It actually makes a good date night fragrance as well because of that attractive leather accord. Defy EDP by Calvin Klein. Another fragrance that I've been singing the praises of for a while now actually is one that I did discover latter part of 2022, early part of 2023. I just think it's a really good blood orange type fragrance. This one is from Jimmy Choo. It's Jimmy Choo Urban Hero Gold. Now if you go through YouTube and pick and choose your reviewers regarding this, you'll get varying opinions on it, but overall it is a solid purchase for under 50 bucks if you like fragrances that are a little bit more, I don't want to say upscale because it's definitely great mostly for casual wear, but there's like a tinge of dressed upness. Great use of phrase there, right? But there's something a bit upscale about the way this comes across, at least on my skin. So if you're looking for a really inexpensive fragrance that's got a nice citrus formed body to it that is a little bit darker, which this is, the blood orange is a darker citrus, that is just hedging its way from casual into a bit more dressed up, this might be a good option for you. And again, under 50 bucks. I usually don't buy into celebrity fragrances because people mostly buy them if they buy into that celebrity, right? And specifically when it comes to football, or it's known as football in Europe, and that is, of course, soccer. But Cristiano Ronaldo actually has a pretty decent history when it comes to men's fragrances in the sports arena. Pun intended. But this particular one, which is part of the CR7, this is called Origins. And guys, this is an actually really well made. This one opens with mandarin orange and pineapple sorbet, so it's very citrusy, lightly sweet. It's got bay leaf and lavender. Now, as it dries down, it becomes more of a lavender heavy. Lavender tends to take over a fragrance, but I like what it does in Origins. Extremely versatile fragrance for any time wear and very inexpensive. You definitely got to check this one out. Origins by Cristiano Ronaldo. Next up is a fragrance that I can't hold up and show you because my brother has stolen it. He likes to come to my studio every now and then and go through what I've got that's new and then take one that he enjoys for a week or so. This week's pick is actually a Hollister fragrance called Canyon Sky. Canyon Sky is actually a very enjoyable, fruity, kind of sweet Invictus style fragrance if you like that kind of attenuated Invictus style. It's got that youthful, familiar smell. There's several fragrances that it smells like, but I like how it makes use of a citrus and sweet to kind of buoy the whole DNA. It's also a blood orange forward fragrance that makes use of like yuzu and juniper. I don't tend to expect a lot from Hollister, but Canyon Sky is a great little buy at what, 17 bucks for a 100ml bottle. You really can't beat that price. Next up is a cheapie that I've talked about in several lists before. I can't not mention it in my best of 2023, or at least best of fragrances that I discovered this past year and a half. And it's one from Guy Laroche. It is Drakkar Intense. Basically what it is a spicier version of Drakkar. And if you want to add a bit of absinthe in there, a bit of vanilla, and then of course a patchouli vetiver combo. A great combination, a great addition to a very iconic fragrance, Drakkar. And boy, it took forever for this to come out, didn't it? But I'm really glad that they released it. I just wish it were a bit stronger, but in fact, that's what makes it a great cheapie though. You don't really have to care about how much you splash on because it's so inexpensive. Drakkar Intense by Guy Laroche. Another great cheapie that actually surprised me how much I like it, and it kind of reminds me a bit of 4711, the original, a better version of it, actually a more longer lasting version of it. It's actually from a designer that I've never used before or worn. It's Emmanuel Ungaro, and it's Fresh for Him. Fresh for Him is just that. What a great descriptor for this fragrance. This one opens with a fresh citrus combination of bergamot, orange, and grapefruit, and then in the heart is where it starts going towards the more floral, spicy. You've got mimosa and violet in the heart, and the typical patchouli vetiver in the base. But Fresh for Him kind of reminds me of if 4711 and Givenchy gentlemen got together and had a love child. This is what it would be, but it's a lot better than you might think it would be, and actually smells a lot more expensive than what you're going to pay for this. You can get a 100ml bottle for less than 20 bucks. If you like either one of those fragrances that I mentioned, either this one or 4711, you want to try this one out. Fresh for Him by Emmanuel Ungaro. Another fragrance that I've been singing the praises of for a while on my channel, at least for the past year and a half, I would say, which has gone up in price but still qualifies as a cheapie, is a very nice citrus aquatic combination by Missoni. It is Missoni Wave. Presentation is very cool. It has a magnetic cap that you just can't beat. It's a great performing little cheapie that will often remind you of the best of Versace Pour Homme and maybe even Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Such a banger of a little fragrance for summertime and really for any time. What a refresher to spray this on in the cold of winter and then go outside into that brisk winter air. I've done it before. It's a great wear for either summer or winter for that reason. So definitely check Missoni Wave out. If you haven't already, check out the links below. It will take you to each one of these. Another great cheapie that I've not talked about yet on my channel, and you might be surprised that I'm talking about this. I don't talk about a lot of unisex fragrances, not because I'm hating on unisex. I don't want to throw any shade on unisex. It is hard, I think, to ride that fine line between masculine and feminine, but with gender roles morphing what we think in terms of feminine and masculine, it's either getting easier or getting harder. I haven't figured that out yet to make a unisex fragrance. I think Diesel almost nailed it perfectly with this one. It's actually called D for Diesel. It's actually a really pleasant smelling unisex fragrance, and it actually makes use of some pretty cool notes. The open actually has two of the best fragrant notes that I think you can use in the open of a fragrance, whether it's unisex or masculine, and that is bergamot and ginger. There's lavender and cotton flower, so a little bit of spicy, mostly floral in the heart. The base to me is what makes the fragrance. It's a combination of vanilla and amberwood. Together, it makes just an extremely well-rounded fragrance for a unisex fragrance. Try out D for Diesel if you haven't, because I think you'll really like it. That is, by the way, one of those D is getting a bit closer to the $50 mark. This next fragrance is the most expensive in this list, but when I bought it, I think I got it for like less than 40 bucks, and people realize the niche quality of this. And when I say niche quality, you're probably thinking of a fragrance house like Lalique, and you would be correct. It is Lalique Ombre Noir. What a fantastic, again, niche quality. And something that you don't really expect out of a $30, $40 fragrance when I bought it is something that you expect out of more of a $60, $70, $90 fragrance, which is what it goes for now. But you can still find this for what I think is a cheapy price for this fragrance. You can get this for about 65 bucks from fragrancebuy.ca. Again, I'll list it down below, as well as another link that you can use if they're out there. This one opens with a unique peppermint fig combination. It moves into a darker, richer heart, a spicy cinnamon, tobacco, and papyrus. And then in the base, you've got cognac, myrrh, patchouli, vetiver. If you like boozy tobacco in any form, you're gonna love Ombre Noir. Great performing fragrance, smells extremely unique. Gonna be one that you wanna wear more in cooler weather than in warmer weather, but you can literally wear it anytime. And it's one of those, again, that smells super expensive, but qualifies as a cheapie, at least now, still yet. If you haven't tried it out, if you haven't purchased it, and you like anything about those notes that I described, buy it now, because as time goes on, the price is just going to keep creeping on up. Congratulations, you made it to the end of this video. It felt like I was going a little bit longer, but I get excited when I talk about fragrances that go for relatively inexpensive that I feel like smell very expensive. And these 10 definitely qualify. If you own any of these that I talked about today, or if you've tried any of these out, let everyone know what your experience is like, or let everyone know which one is your favorite in the comments below. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to today's video. As always, thank you so much for your continued support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video review.